Welcome to Bears Nation podcast. We are short on time, so we are just going to get into it. Myself, Jake Hassan, joined as always by Kevin Lapka. And we have a lot to talk about. We are going to preview the upcoming Bears versus Jets game that is happening this Sunday. The Bears are not playing on Thanksgiving. So we're going to give you a quick little preview because me and Kevin have day jobs to do in 20 minutes. and has plans tonight in a shocking turn of events. I'm the one that does not currently have plans, and Kevin does. But all right, let's get into it, and we'll start with the biggest and first story of the day. Zach Wilson's been benched, and Mike White is going to start for the Jets this week after Wilson put up a truly horrid performance against New England Patriots last week, couldn't score more than 3 points, and now the Bears come to town with their terrible defense, and Robert Saleh's seen enough, wants to give another quarterback a chance, see if they could put 10 points on the board. Justin Fields' status on the other side of this coin is still in doubt, is still in question. Haven't heard anything. Typical Bears, they're probably going to drag it out all the way up until Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning until kickoff, and then we'll finally know. But Kevin, initial thoughts with the Zach Wilson benching. And also, real quick, the line move has shifted the Jets with the Zach Wilson benching from 4.5 to 5.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, we heard from Eberflus just about 15 minutes ago. We're recording this at 12:07 on Wednesday, that Justin Fields is not going on IR, and they are optimistic about the injury. So this is all but confirming it is not a shoulder dislocation, right? We did a whole 20-minute segment on Monday because we got the report from Rappaport. And then a couple hours later, or the next day, it was Schefter and it was somebody else who was like, actually, or I think it was Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, who said, no, it's not dislocated. And that appears to be the case. If he's like practicing today at a limited capacity, today was just a walkthrough, but they are going to list him as limited. That would tell me that it's just an AC joint sprain, which is great news for Bears fans everywhere. It's not a serious injury. You can come back from that. It's not an injury that hampers you long term. So 100%. That is good. Now let's talk Mike White, Zach Wilson. Now it's interesting to me, Jake, that the line has changed in favor of the Jets, presumably because of the quarterback decision for the Jets, right? I'm assuming that line change has nothing to do with the status of Justin Fields, correct?
No, it's because of the Jets change at quarterback.
Right.
I mean, so, it's because people are assuming that the Jets are going to be better without Zach Wilson starting, which I agree.
And so that makes no sense to me, right? Because when everyone hears the name Mike White, you think of that 405-yard, 3-touchdown performance against the Cincinnati Bengals last year, week 7. They win 34-31, right? Well, you look at the rest of the games that he played in 2021. He played 4 games, and he threw 2 interceptions, too, in that game where he threw 405 yards. First game against New England, 202 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions, lost 54-13. 54-13 in the first game that Mike White played last year, they lost. Then they win against Cincinnati. In the game after that, 95 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. They lost 45-30 against Indianapolis. And then the game after that, the final game of his 2021 stint, a loss to Buffalo, 45-17. He throws for 251 yards, but 4 interceptions and a 54% completion rate. I don't know where this narrative is coming from that Mike White is a better option than Zach Wilson. Clearly, he's actually hampering your team more by the amount of interceptions he's throwing. Maybe he has a higher floor, I guess you could say at this point, in major quotation marks. Like if that's what we're chalking this up to, is that he's got a higher floor just because he can make a screen pass that Zach Wilson couldn't make last week. Is that what we're doing? I don't know, Jake. Like, I am also sort of disappointed that we kind of miss out on the Fields versus Wilson narrative of, he's now undefeated against all the quarterbacks in his draft class. He has a chance to get another one against one of those guys and really stick it to the Jets. But I do think that's one of the reasons why Justin may be eager to play this game, is to prove to the Jets, regardless of who's playing quarterback, that you effed up, you made the wrong decision. But Jake, I don't believe that the Jets are really a better football team with Mike White.
I think they are, just because, for one thing, you don't have to ask Zach Wilson. Like Zach Wilson, you have the stigma of the number 2 overall pick, and you're trying to force this kind of these kind of results, these positive results. You're trying to force this kind of success out of him and kind of squeeze whatever you can get out of him. Mike White, there's no pressure. You just got to be like, all right, hand the ball off to James Robertson, Michael Carter 50 times.
But is that true?
Yes.
Because is Mike White playing for any sort of job? Is he? Is he playing for any sort of job?
Maybe, but here's the point. Like, my point being, I don't think Mike White comes with the ego of Zach Wilson, where Zach Wilson's like, I got to make this throw. I got to make this play. Like, I got to prove to everyone. Like, Mike White's like, I'm a backup. I'm fine handing it off 40, 50 times to these guys and letting them run through the Bears. And then I get the win and I look good at the end of the day and then taking care of the ball. You're right. The Jets aren't going to ask him to throw downfield probably at all, because we know the Bears' one strength on defense is their defensive backfield. Jalen Johnson, Jaquan Brisker, Eddie Jackson. Like, they've been the best part of the defense. It's the run defense that's the worst. So the Jets are going to come in here knowing that the Bears offense, especially if it's Trevor Siemian, the Jets might shut him out. If it's Trevor Siemian, they might shut him out. If it's Justin Fields, still, how much that shoulder is hurting him, we don't know how much he's going to run, how much he's going to throw, what his deep balls ability is going to be like with a hurt shoulder. They might only score 10 points. So the Jets know that as long as they get in the end zone a couple times, they're probably winning the game. And how are you going to do that? By running the ball, because this Bears run defense is atrocious. They've traded their two best players over the last month. We know that. That's been well documented. And the Bears offense has got nothing. The Jets can play this game extremely conservatively and still just win and still score twice and still score 3 times and be fine and put on cruise control. Mike White has to do virtually nothing. Me or you could start this game at quarterback and the Jets can win. Like, I could trot out there, and I'm not a great athlete. I'll say I got the knees of a 90-year-old. I could trot out there and hand the ball off 60 times and the Jets win. Like, that's where they're at. Zach Wilson comes with all these expectations and trying to figure out what a number 2 overall pick is. Mike White's a backup. Everybody knows it. He knows it. Yeah, the interceptions are there, so they're not going to ask him to throw. And if they do, it's going to be the 5-yard slants. You know, they're not going to ask him to do anything. So, yeah, I agree. I think they're a better team without Zach Wilson. Now, if this was Flacco, the Bears would be dead in the water. I don't know why they're not starting Joe Flacco.
Because, and that's what I mean, like, do they see a potential future in Mike White? Because all of a sudden the Jets have been thrust into a situation where your future is in doubt. Like, your future is in question now. Who is, I know Salas said, well, his career is not over for Zach Wilson. I don't care if you're saying his career is not over. You are not also, he said it's not over in New York. He's saying it's not over for him and the Jets. It's over in New York. It's 100% over in New York. Like, but
you can't come back.
They are, and so this is the funny, I was arguing with one of my friends who's a Jets fan on Twitter. And I was like, would you rather, be completely honest, would you rather be in the Chicago Bears position right now or the New York Jets position right now? Bears. 100 out of 100 people should say Bears. Yeah. Like, you may be 6-4 right now. There's a good chance you probably don't even make the playoffs now if you're the New York Jets, and you have to restart everything. You have to restart your whole franchise because you're constantly looking for a quarterback. Like, it's Bears vibes over there in New York. They can't find the guy. It's been elusive. It's been as elusive for them as it has been for the Chicago Bears. And they had a chance to take the guy. They missed out on him, and the Bears got him. And Bears fans should feel incredibly lucky. Now, yes, the New York Jets defense, top 10 in a lot of metrics, right? Top 10,
arguably the best
per game.
They have the defensive rookie of the year.
They
have a guy who's going to be an all-pro. Sauce Gardner's going to be an all-pro next year.
Probably next year.
And he's going to have a case this year.
Yeah, he not for an all-pro this year. He'll have a case.
The conversation will be there. People will talk about it.
Until Darnell Mooney torches him on Sunday. Yeah. Or what about Chase Claypool torching Sauce Gardner on Sunday? No, so realistically, let's play this, right? We're recording this on Wednesday, so we don't have the luxury of knowing who's going to be playing quarterback. We have nothing, but I don't think anyone doing podcasting this week is going to know, because I think it'll be sort of a game time decision, right? And they say, how do you feel on Sunday? Is it really worth it? Now, it's interesting to me that Matt Eberflus said that if he's healthy, he's going to play, because he said they're trying to win the game. So obviously he's trying to say that to push away any sort of tank narratives. Of course, he's going to say that. Right. But if he does play, I expect Justin Fields to be the type of guy who's going to, bust his balls all game and be out to prove something. Like, they're not going to, he's right in the sense that they're not going to trot Justin Fields out there just to be out there. Like, if he is going to play on Sunday, I assume they're going to be very careful with this. He's your franchise quarterback. If he's fully healthy and he's ready to go, then you're going to see a full package of Justin Fields, maybe a little bit less running, but still enough to where, he's putting his body on the line.
Well, Ryan Poles, even before the season started, when he traded Khalil Mack, Ryan Poles showed us that he is going to have an eye on the future. So if this is his decision, I have no doubt that he's going to say, you're sitting your ass down, and Trevor Siemian's starting. And, Nathan Peterman's going to be the backup up from the practice squad. Now, Justin Fields, we know, is never going to be the guy that's saying, yeah, I'm too hurt to play. We know that. We saw that when it came out, yesterday or the day before, that he apologized to the defense for not scoring more. And they said, whoa, what are you talking about, dude? Like, you're hurt. He's not going to be the guy to say, yeah, I'm too hurt to play. He's just not. It's not going to happen. And so it's going to have to be Ryan Poles saying, listen, there's a way bigger picture here than this year. And I know you don't like to hear it, but losing's best for this team right now. And I know you don't like to lose. So sit this one out, maybe sit out the next one, sit out the bye. And then if you're not going to need surgery at all, like if they somehow
I don't think he will.
If they somehow dodged this bullet where it's not going to be surgery at all, this is ideal. Sit this week, sit next week, sit the bye, or even sit this week and play next week and see how you respond, and then you have the bye. That's probably what you want to do here. Like, I have no idea how the Bears are going to play this. I think he shouldn't play. Me and you both agreed on that on Monday. I don't know if your stance has changed, but I still hold that fact that if he's going to play, then sit him this week, play him next week, see how the shoulder responds, then you have the bye and go from there. That's where I'm at right now.
So here's the question. The question becomes, does Ryan Poles get involved in this? Like, do you think he's already involved in how they're handling this situation?
He'll have say. I think he'll have a say in it. You can't not have, like, especially when it's a quarterback and you think it's going to be your franchise quarterback now. He can't not have a say in this.
It's ideal, but is it a bad look then if Ryan Poles is coming into the locker room saying, hey, we're focused on 2023, on the future, when, there's a lot of guys on the roster who are guaranteed to be on this team for the next couple of years, but there's a lot of guys who aren't, right? We always, as we have a broader outlook, as we should, but then you really think about it. You go into that locker room and you look at guys who are playing on one-year contracts, who are playing for the future, and these games are really important for them to get more money with other teams and keep a job. Is it a bad look for those players, or even for guys who are looking for an extension, right? And if you're basically going out there and saying, hey, if he's healthy, but we're sitting him, we're essentially quitting on the season, and you're sending that message, and that's reflected by the way they're handling the situation, I don't know if that's necessarily the right thing to do when it comes to your relationship with the locker room. Like, again, you talk about these guys fighting for contract extensions. You talk about the guys, like, say it is just a Byron Pringle who's on a one-year deal. He's had a down season. Like, this is hurting his chances to get a contract with another team, because it's probably not going to be the Bears. Is he going to say, hey, why are we punting on the season? I need to go out there and show what I'm capable of, and I can't do that with Trevor Siemian versus Justin Fields. I mean, looks like you can't do it with Justin Fields anyway, but you know what I mean? Like, for a lot of these guys, is it sending the wrong message?
If they're not going to be on, so I would say this. If they're not going to be on the team anyway, so like, let's use Byron Pringle as an example. Sure. If the Bears are like, we're not bringing him back next year, then who cares? Then it doesn't matter. Like, sorry, best of luck to you in the free agent market, but we got to look out for us. If you know these guys aren't going to be on the team, if you're saying, if Ryan Poles is sitting there and like, well, Byron Pringle's not going to be on the team next year, but let me do right by him and put my franchise quarterback at further risk. That's not happening. It's just not. Who cares? You have to think about this for you and for your team, especially within a position as important as the quarterback and Justin Fields. So I think he's going to have a say in it. I think it's part of mine. And like I said on Monday, I think part of it is like, you have a losing season at this point. You're not making the playoffs. So if it was week 1 or 2 and this was happening, then it would hurt the locker room, and then you could make that argument. But you know where you're at this point. Like, you're not making the playoffs. You're a losing team. Yeah. You're projected for the 2nd overall pick right now. Like, that's where you're at. Like, that's the situation. So I don't think that matters at this point in the season right now. But let's get into talking about the actual game. I mean, we have been talking about the game and the quarterback situations for both, but let's get into our expectations and our final score. Like we said, this is going to be a very short episode. We have to try and squeeze this in around some other stuff. And, we hope you appreciate it and enjoy it just the same. But of course, we'll be back on Monday with our full, regular slate. But Kevin, I think the Bears, no matter what, even if Justin Fields plays this game, I think the Bears lose. This Jets defense is so good. They are arguably the top defense in the entire league. And like I said, Mike White just has to hand it off. He has to take snap, turn. Like, that's all he has to do. He just has to hand it off 30, 40, 50, however many times, get 2-3 touchdowns, if even that, and you're good and you're cruising. This Bears defense is horrid. And I think that the Bears offense, even with Justin Fields, is going to struggle against this Jets defense, especially Justin Fields that's a little banged up.
Yeah, I think the thing that scares me if he plays is regardless of whether they list him as fully healthy, we already saw him on that final play of the game to Dave Montgomery get a little shaky in the pocket because he's worried about re-injuring that shoulder, right? He did the little jump, which is really uncharacteristic of him or any quarterback, to sort of do that little pop pass and kind of get cautious there with the shoulders. And I think if you were to ask, that offensive line to, hey, you really got to protect Justin this week. Oh, and you're up against good defense. Oh, and maybe Tevin Jenkins is even going to be on the field again. That's a lot to ask to keep your quarterback healthy and clean in the pocket. And I do wonder at times if the matchup does play into this, right? You understand you're playing good defense, a good defensive front. Does that, Quinnen Williams versus Sam Mustipher? Ooh, yay, that's going to be fun for everyone to see because Lucas Patrick officially out for the year, got surgery on that toe. Great. But he'll be back next year, so we'll have to monitor that. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. It just scares me. Like the narrative is the only thing keeping me in this, right? About how Justin's undefeated against the guys in his class, and there really is an edge, when it comes to that. There is a chip on the shoulder, but this is a game where, I don't know how much you're going to be able to get done in the running game. It'll be interesting to see. It's a pretty good rush defense for the New York Jets. Teams are rushing on them 19th most in the league, but they're only allowing 109 rush yards per game, 9th in the league, and only 4.0 yards per rush. So it's going to be tough to imagine that they're going to be able to get the run going and then build up the play action because of that. So I wonder if Luke Getsy is going to say, hey, we're only going to win this game if we try to keep him in the pocket. But I don't think Justin's going to be willing to take those hits. So it's just a bad matchup all around for the Bears, given the scenarios. And, we want to do bold predictions. My bold prediction is at least the fact that I think Dave Montgomery will score 2 touchdowns. That's my boldest prediction I can make. Like I think they're going to be able to score twice. They're going to get in the red zone. I don't think they're going to be able to do much. Maybe get a takeaway from Mike White and put you in good field position. You only got to drive 30 yards, and Dave Montgomery gets in. He's been running well, and he's obviously a good red zone back. I have nothing else inspiring for you for bold predictions in this game. I don't.
Yeah, it's
too hard to guess right now.
Yeah, the bold predictions is tough to do because that there's so much unknown in this game. We don't know what Mike White brings to the table really, and our first time seeing him this year. We don't know who's even going to be starting at quarterback for the Bears and how that affects their playmakers, guys that they've been trying to get up. Cole Kmet has ascended. They've been trying to get Chase Claypool involved. That's a whole thing. So that affects these guys depending on who's at quarterback. So yeah, I think I'm going to go bold, and I'm just going to go something completely outrageous. I'm going to go Sauce Gardner gets a pick or forces a turnover, and then the next play immediately followed by Jaquan Brisker forces a turnover and gets the ball right back.
Wow.
I'm going to do that. Just do something weird. Screw it. Who cares?
Wow.
Like, do something weird, right? Like, it's just something, but they both could do it. I mean, Sauce Gardner's awesome. Jaquan Brisker's awesome. Like, Jaquan Brisker might finish second in defensive rookie of the year. Sauce Gardner's obviously going to win, but let's do that. A back-to-back turnover possession.
I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, I do think you're on the right track. If I were to do a second one, I would say, the Bears get 3 turnovers in this game, right? I already mentioned the Mike White turnover tendencies here. And yeah, the Bears defense isn't great, but it can happen with these guys in the secondary. Eddie Jackson, that's what I'll do. I'll say Eddie Jackson gets one. Eddie Jackson gets a second INT, or not a second. What is it? 5th? He was up there in the league lead, and then he didn't get one for a couple games, and Gardner Johnson on the Saints just completely went off and leapt him in overall interception rankings. But I thought for a second there was a couple weeks, Jake, where I was like, hey, if he keeps this up, he's a Pro Bowler,
He might still be.
And he might still be.
He's still been playing well.
But considering how bad the Bears defense has been as a whole, it's hard to justify it.
All right, let's round it out with our final score predictions. The line is at 5. It's holding there. Not much is going to change until Justin Fields' status is officially announced. I said the whole time, I think the Bears lose this game no matter what. I do think it's going to be, lower scoring just because of the Jets offense and the status of that, and the Jets defense being awesome. So I'm going to say that the Jets win this game 17-3.
That's disgusting.
It's
But I think
it's
you're on
gonna
the
be a
right track.
gross game.
It's gonna be disgusting. Now it's funny because there's actually so many storylines built around it, and it's actually a relatively interesting buildup considering what has happened in New York and what's
Yep.
going on with Justin Fields, and the buildup to the game is way more exciting than the actual game itself,
Right.
right? With all the drama that has occurred. Now we're also great for everyone expecting rain there in East Rutherford on Sunday, so that'll make an ugly game a heck of a lot more
Gross.
ugly.
Very gross.
I'm gonna go. If Justin were to play, I can't take the Bears. I just can't.
You
I
can't.
want to do it because I don't think
We don't know
part of me
what
is
he's
just
gonna look
hey,
like.
you just don't know. You just don't know. It's too hard. I'll take the Jets to win 16-12. I don't think the Bears. Or wait, actually, that's wrong. I already predicted Dave Montgomery to score 2 touchdowns, so I have to adjust that.
2 missed PATs.
2 missed PATs. Yo, yes, yeah.
Screw it. Who cares?
Screw it.
It's
We're going with
Thanksgiving week game. Who cares?
16-12. So the Jets score 1 touchdown and kick 3 field goals, and the Bears score 2 touchdowns but miss both field goals. Or here. They score 1. They get the no, it's impossible. Yeah, they score 1. They miss the extra point. Then they get a second touchdown. They go for 2 and miss it.
Miss it. Okay.
I'm standing by 16-12. Ugly game. Bears get a little bit going on the ground with some David Montgomery touchdowns. Start him in fantasy, but other than that, it's a stay away game. I do think they cover the spread, though. I'm going to take the Bears on the spread -5 or +5. It's just, do I really think Mike White's going to blow them out? Probably not, but it's all up in the hanging in the balance. So that's the best analysis we could give you guys here on Wednesday with as much as we don't know.
Yeah, that's what we're working with right now. We know this was a shorter episode. We hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving, safe Thanksgiving. We appreciate all the viewers and the listeners as always. We'll be back Monday with a full hour for you. We'll break it all down. We'll break down Justin Fields and his future for the rest of the season, break down everything that we saw in the game or maybe lack thereof, and we'll go from there. So we will see everybody on Monday. Have a happy holiday, and we'll see you then. And as always, bear down.